Good morning. What's up, everybody? I just realized I didn't even realize what shirt I put on. Support the EFF. That's my message of the day. If you watch nothing else on this video, go donate to the EFF. How about that? Make it a reoccurring donation. What's up, Francisco, Brandon, Mohammed? How we doing? No motivation today. You got to look at your checking account and your bill pile, and that becomes your motivation. I look at how much a nice dinner costs and I work towards that. Yo, shitty dinners cost. Look how much shitty dinners cost these days. It's hard to get lunch in Austin for like less than freaking $20. I love Thundercloud subs. Do you guys have? No, Thundercloud subs is like an Austin thing for sure, right? Thundercloud subs is like not the greatest sandwich. I tried to say best and greatest at the same time. Not the greatest sandwich you'll ever have, but it's $7. It's $7. You remember $7 sandwiches? That's what's up. What do we want to start chatting about today? You know, I'm going to say something dangerous. I'm going to say a dangerous thing. Think compared to the last, I don't know, fucking 4 months, it's been a quiet week. It's been a quiet week. 66 stops today, tomorrow off. Mohammed, what happened? You had like 310 stops, 80-something stops, 66 stops. Is this good or bad? Do you get paid by the stop? Do you like a slow day? And what are we doing, chat, to get Mohammed into cybersecurity and out of a UPS truck? That's what we're going to talk about. Haven't seen a sub $10 sandwich in a while. That's what I'm saying, man. $7 for like a decent sub. Like Thundercloud, like I said, it's not winning any awards, but from what I know, it's fresh baked bread. I've known some people who have worked there. They make like the chicken salad and the tuna salad and the egg salad like every day. I don't know. $7. It's like the premium sandwich I get there because it's got like some avocado on it. It's like $9.50. You received a voice device for note taking, a voice recording device, but I didn't trust their app. So I've been using Claude to try to reverse engineer. And I love this. I love that our brains do this because I did the same thing. Were you on the stream when I was like, I really need I need to force my browser into dark mode because if I put it on my teleprompter, which is off right now, if it's not on dark mode, it like glows on my face, right? And I was like, oh man, this extension needs like the scary permission. And so I was like, Claude, here's the code for this extension, because that's how extensions work. You have the code. Go do a security review. I love it. I love that we just get to like do point in time, decent security reviews of just stuff that we use. Which voice device note-taking thing did you get? I have like 3, and I don't use any of them. I was actually just thinking about that. Like, I wonder if there's some real-time note-taking stuff that I could do while I yap into these videos that could help with stuff. Gas prices, subs, $20. Everything's $20. You can't leave the house for less than $20. They all say it's fresh rate. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I know some, minimum wage employees that speak highly of Thundercloud, right? Like, not corporate marketing systems. Chinese clone of Pocket got for review. Yeah, I'd be kind of nervous about that too. Trying to convince our team needs to get into automated pen testing yesterday. Oh God, I do the thing that I always do. I have Twitter tabs open, ready to talk about. And then I'm like, hit the home button, read the thing. And I'm like, no, that's not what this tab is for. I was going to look up the thing that I got. My buddy bought me this as like a gift. this like bee thing. So 2 of my friends swear by this. They really like it. Turns moments, learns and grows with you. I'm going to be honest. I charged it out of the box. It was like, okay, to set up, you got to talk to this thing for a few minutes. And I like wasn't somewhere that I could do that for some reason. And I was like, And then I've like, it's died and I've never charged it or figured this out. We've gone over this, right? On stream. My brain does not, I don't have the neuron that's like, hey, let's take a note right now. Whatever that neuron is, not a thing that I have. But I went on I like rucking. You guys ever go rucking? So I ruck with these 2 friends who both like this bee thing. And they'll hit the button for the ruck. Hit the button for the bee, like when we start walking. We walked around Town Lake here, and we were like, oh, let's go for a little coffee, whatever. We wound up walking for like 7 miles, like a few hours. And just like talking and whatever. And I guess he had the bee recording the whole time. And he sent me the like screenshot, because I guess it does like the little summary of the session. And it was basically like middle-aged men talking about like what, it just roasted us. It was just like, you know, you guys are just old dudes talking about old dude shit. Stop being defensive, be offensive, validate your security stack. Yeah, for sure. What cloud subscription do you recommend for someone learning and studying cybersecurity? Well, Roman in chat has the $20 one, and I mean, he wishes he had a different one, right? The $200 one is kind of like you don't run into the limits nearly as much, but they did just double the limits. So maybe the $20 one is okay. Oh, Francisco's saying 20 is fine. Yeah, okay. Sweet. I burned through the 200, so that's a me. Rucking to get ideas out there. Yeah, that's it, man. Like, literally, this one buddy, I'm like, hey, you want to get lunch? And he's like, no, you want to go for a walk? That's a good friend to have. Hey, let's not go sit and spend money and eat a bunch of fucking calories we don't need right now. Let's go for a walk. What up, Brandon? How you doing? We got some shit we could talk about. Like I said, dare I say, oh my God, I did it with every Twitter. I had a bunch of Twitter tabs open in my browser that I share. And in every single one of them, I just started browsing Twitter and lost the tab. Oh, okay. So like I said, dare I say it's a slow week. But okay, here's the deal. Well, my buddy Dan, let me ask Dan if I can share this on screen before I do. Hey, Dan. Where did your fucking message go? I don't know if this is like a super secret Dan project, so I'm asking his permission before I share it on stream. It's a business expense. Yeah, I don't know if I would like be personally dropping $200 for sure. I'm just letting you guys know like where people run into the stuff. Benefit of $20 is you run out of tokens, built-in touch grass breaks. Yeah, that's true. And they just doubled it for what it's worth. For what it's worth. So Dan has built this pretty cool little tool that he uses to like curate his content that I think kind of winds up going into his newsletter and stuff. I don't know if it's a super secret project or not. But what I was going to bring up was like the couple of headlines that have kind of bubbled up this week. I'm not sure I give a shit too much of a shit about, right? Someone talk me out of this, okay? Someone talk me out of this opinion, because I got a bunch of replies trying to talk me out of this opinion and they failed. Okay, so like, look at this. Look at this shit really quick. 1.3 million fucking views for this Twitter account. This Twitter account is like hyper alarmist. They seem like good people, but they do tweet like everything like this. And unfortunately, it's worked, right? They've like triple my follower account, and it's like a newish account, right? It's like a this year account, right? Let's see. Oh no, 2024. I think really I only saw them getting active this year. Like I said, nothing like major against this person, but they kind of latch on to like every breach forums post and are like, this person got hacked. And it's like, that hasn't been confirmed. That's a breach forums post, right? Breach forums posts say anything. All right. This one went a bit viral, right? I would call that viral. And the whole thing is like, hey, if you store passwords in Edge's password manager, like the browser save password thing, they're in process memory as clear text. And I get like, the design is a little weird because it's like your whole vault, right? But like, I truly don't understand like the major 1 million view holy shit dunk on the right. It sounds so bad, right? This is why everyone's freaking out. Is like, what? Passwords in clear text? But like, it's local in memory, right? So it's like Chromium decrypts credentials on demand and like locks the keys to an authenticated Chrome process so other processes can't use them. So like, I understand that this is like the better way to do it. Plain text surfaces only during autofill. Okay. If you are on the box and have access to memory, isn't it game over already? Like, aren't we already game over? Like, he says something about, where's the terminal server thing? Where did I say that? In shared environments, this turns into a credential harvest. On a terminal server, an attacker with admin rights can read the memory of every logged on user process. In the POC, a compromised admin account lifts stored credentials from 2 other logged on users with Edge running. I understand that this feels just like a little weird because it's clear text passwords and everyone wants to jump all over Microsoft. But like, what's the fucking attack scenario here? Where like a shared server has multiple users all using Edge's password manager. I've worked in a lot of environments. I've never, ever seen a shared server that like is a GUI server, right? So this isn't like, oh, a jump bot. Like I've seen plenty of like dev shared environments, like jump in, SSH in, whatever. I've never, ever worked in an environment where there was a shared Windows machine with multiple users on it using the GUI, using Edge and Edge's password manager. So like just like prevalence of this like scenario just seems super small, right? And then if the attack requires admin on the box, which is what this tweet says, we'll get, I guess some of the responses were saying that that's inaccurate, which, okay, then I have a thing. Aren't you fucked? Like, if you require like admin in the box, admin means compromised admin account, or it means malware. At which point, like, you could steal anything anyway, right? Keyloggers, you could do anything. If you've got access to the box. So the only thing that I could say here is that it probably would speed up like live off the land type stuff, right? What's up, Coyote? So like, okay, you're an attacker, you compromise the device, and you don't want to do a bunch of malware-y, keyloggery things because that'll set off alarms. You do have a little bit of like an easier path to some other creds stored in the vault. I guess. So I guess you could say that, right? That like you have like a slight advantage on stealth once you've compromised. I just like can't see this being like, I don't see this being this like this super like million fucking view viral tweet dunk that people think it is, right? Calling it slop. Is a slippery soap. Just because it's a heart attack doesn't mean you should be lazy about vectors. I just don't see the vector. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, okay. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's a slippery soap. I understand what you're saying, but like, this is what I was saying. It's like, obviously, clear text stuff just... the reason I think it's a little weird is it's your whole vault sitting permanently in clear text in memory, right? It's not like at the time. But like the responses I get were like multi-tenant virtual desktop farms where a breach could provide more lateral movement than users. Like, what? Like a multi-tenant virtual desktop farm does not address this, right? Because if you have your own virtual desktop on a box, that's like, you're not cross virtualized environments here, from what I can tell. It would be like multi-user on same virtual machine, right? Unless I'm missing some part of the attack, right? And then this has got to be an AI response, right? Seen this exact setup at 3 enterprise accounts. This is a chief revenue officer somewhere, right? 3 enterprise accounts in the last year. It's always a temporary environment that became permanent because no one owned the decommission. The security review never happened because it was never supposed to exist. I mean, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. As soon as you have admin on any Windows machine sitting on a multi-user, nothing is safe. This was my point, right? You can dump it without admin elevation. If a process has user level access, you're fucked. And so like, okay, if it isn't about the machine itself, it's about all the other services that this impacts. Sure, you've owned this one box with the saved passwords. You now have access to bank it. Well, yes, but like if you own this box, you do have access to anything that the user like has access to on that. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. And then so there's some question marks about whether it requires admin, which the research says it does require admin. So like, I don't understand why then some people are like, it doesn't require admin. I don't know. Does 2FA help here? No, that's not, this is like a password storage thing. Well, does it help? Yeah, if you have 2FA on all of those accounts that people stole the password for, yeah, that's like what 2FA does. Is if your password leaks or gets stolen via something else. Yeah, if you have 2FA on all of the things, it doesn't help this attack, right? Because again, the attacker's on the box to do this attack. I don't know. Like I said, it's obviously not the crazy good idea. There's better ways to design this, but do I think this is one of the big security headlines of the week? No, I don't. No, I don't. And this is where I'm at this week. You know? So that's one of them. One of the other big headlines of the week I'm also not sure is a big deal. That's what I'm like struggling this week because I'm like, is a bunch of this shit nothing burgers? Where did I put this? What? Where did it go? I know I picked it up. Hold on. And then this one, right? So like, this is a big, scary deal, right? But I was talking to some threat intel people about the numbers, and I think it's single digits. I think it's like single digit people impacted by this, right? So we have a Pan OS RCE. We talked about this on stream yesterday, right? But like, if you follow the docs put out by Pan, this shouldn't be on the internet. They're saying there's 5,000 servers publicly, about 2,000 in North America. I was talking to some intel people. I think it was actually low hundreds. And I think single digits actually wound up like having something to chase. Specific to a limited number of customers with this user ID portal exposed to the public internet, we've observed limited exploitation. We're working to release software fixes. Yeah. So again, this is like big headline of the week. You know? That's why I'm like scratching my head this week. Is browser password storage still a thing? Yeah. And like, I don't know. Does a password manager solve a lot of this, right? It does solve some of it. Clear text in memory kind of thing like we're talking about here, sure. Right? Let me but like here, check this sucker out. Man, see, this is why I said, Francisco, this is why I said I have a dangerous thing to say, that it was a slow, because the last few months have been exhaustingly breakneck. I'm like, really? This is what we got this week? I was like, dangerous thing to say. Needs to Google GitHub hack. Are you talking about, I made a video about the GitHub thing. Are you talking about like today? Or are you talking about the RCE from Wiz? I made a whole video about it. We definitely talked about it on stream. Yeah, you're talking last week, right? Yeah. No, again? What? What? I'm seeing last week. Is this what you're talking about? This is a new one, 21 hours ago? CTO apologized. Second was a security disclosure, 2 points, same money from the same company. This is completely AI generated blog post, by the way. This is like completely unedited AI output. Like this kind of stuff. This is raw AI output. Let's see. Is there another thing in here? What's up, Kilobyte? The part that I want to walk you through is if I'm not leaving GitHub, my team isn't either. Merge incident. Yeah, this is the video I made. I'm like, this is completely AI generated. You're catching up. Oh, no worries. I'm actually like slightly, I mean, not to like whatever my own horn. I'm curious if this guy follows me, because this was almost like the video I made was the like weave together the merge queue incident, the security incident, and the people leaving was like my idea for the video that I made. It was like, oh man, bad week for GitHub. Don't worry. The video for some reason has gotten like no fucking views. So it's likely you didn't see it. I do not know why. I do not know why. Yeah. Here, it's called this one. GitHub is not okay. Oh, it got a few more views. It had like 300 at some point. Not a lot of interaction. So yeah, like my whole thing on this, I don't expect you guys sitting in here to like watch everything I put out. Don't worry about it. But, and then low level, like, look at this, like pretty much the same GitHub hacked and broken and me. And then comparison is the thief of joy. So like, I won't, whatever. But then low level, GitHub hacked. 250,000 views. Fuck. What am I doing? No, we're not going down that road today. We'll watch some YouTube videos today. I'm actually curious how level covered it versus me. Why is some ordinary gamer talking tech today? Delete Google Chrome right now? Why? Oh, there's that AI thing. Did you guys hear about that? Chrome comes with like some AI thing. You think it's the title? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I think it's a skill issue. I think I'm just not quite as good. I'll get there. Oh, I did have this fucking tab open and I went looking for it again. So this is from today. So the update on the PAN RCE is it's under active use, enabling root access and espionage. But everyone's saying this isn't giving any more information than is in the Palo Alto announcement that I can see, right? Oh, Palo Alto came out with their own article today. Unit 42 did? Ah, they did. Okay, this is good. So Unit 42, if you guys don't know, they're like the incident response arm of Palo. So they like, it's kind of like their Mandiant, right? Like they do incident response for their customers. We are aware of only limited exploitation at this time. Unit 42 is tracking whatever the fuck that is. Is that a threat actor name? A cluster of likely state-sponsored threat activity. What naming convention is this? The attacker behind this activity exploited this CVE to achieve unauthenticated remote code execution in PAN-OS. Upon successful exploitation, the attacker was able to inject shellcode into an Nginx worker process. Post-exploitation activity includes deployment of publicly available tunneling tools, Active Directory enumeration using creds likely obtained from the firewall, and the systematic destruction of logs to cover their track. But the scope, yeah, I think they're not publishing the numbers. I didn't talk to someone at Palo, but I talked to somebody. I think, like I said, I think it's single digits. Starting April 9th is actually a decent time ago. There were unsuccessful exploitation attempts. A week later, the attacker successfully achieved RCE. Following the compromise, the attacker immediately conducted log cleanup. The attackers deployed a number of tools. On April 29th, the attackers conducted a security assertion. Oh, a SAML. I was like, what is this? SAML. A SAML fled against the previously targeted device, which promoted a second device to active. inheriting the same internet-facing traffic. RCE was then achieved on the second device, where these tunnels were downloaded. Functions as a SOC server. All right. I mean, kind of interesting. But yeah, just like don't put the shit on the internet is really the advice, right? All right, good write-up. Good write-up. We have more info this morning than we had. I was kind of like, oh man, nothing. And then Unit 42 to save the day. And we have some info. That's good. All right, now I can put that in the newsletter. Unit 42 one instead of the other. The news stories about it were just kind of like whatever. It was just kind of like, all right, don't put this on the internet. Got it. Ooh, Unit 42, 2 bangers today. We didn't cover this, did we? What you need to know about the most severe Linux threat in years is a pretty scary title. I don't really want to go back through copy fail. We've done this. I want to know if they've responded to any incidents. All right, so there's a patch. If you can't patch, do this. That's good info because I don't think that was around. Some threat hunting queries is good. Conclusion. Okay, so no, I mean, kind of interesting what's not said in this article, right? Is info about incident response, right? So it's just vulnerability information and patching information. There's not a whole lot of exploit activity, right? So it's useful to see what they didn't say in that, if that makes sense. Morning. What's a noob? Like a newbie. Noob. N-O-O-B. N-E-W-B. A noob. Oh, yeah. Wait, I pulled this up, didn't I? So we were talking about password managers in the browser versus like password managers, third party, right? And here Daniel's generally like, he's outspoken, but he's generally has good takes. Let's ignore the memory of the browser, the cookies and tokens, the memory of the clipboard, the memory of the password manager, and the keyloggers. Right. So this is what I'm saying. Like if you have admin on the box, if you're using a third-party password manager, like all of this stuff is still a thing, right? Watching KeyPass, Chrome, MS Edge, Brave, LSASS. There's this cred scan, like browser ripper tool or whatever. And it's like, oh, here's the memory of KeyPass. And then LZ talks about this. This is from 2022, mind you. How credentials are accessed in memory, even in LastPass. Oh, it's a video. I don't want to watch a video right now. But basically, like, no, you're not, like, if you're on the box, you're on the box, man. You guys are so nice. Why? Because we didn't make fun of you for asking what a noob was? Why would I make fun of you? Mr. Reboot is an incredibly cool handle. It is a pretty cool handle. It makes me think of this, though. Do you guys remember this? This guy? What? I didn't know I was doing an AI search there. Do you guys remember this show?
In case you'd forgotten, team sent to find
and hide that.
This was like very strange animation, and this was like a computer virus.
Disrupt order. They're dangerous enough on their own.
Megabyte
but after
and
they
hexadecimal.
Merge, they become Gigabyte, a hulking
Merge into
super virus
Gigabyte.
and destroyer of systems. In fact, Gigabyte is actually the original form of the two viruses, who were split in an explosion.
You guys
But after
remember
Megabyte
this?
is infected,
Oh my God. I remember that. When was that cartoon out? Is like a really going to be a sad question to let's take a guess. Anyone want to guess when that aired? Oh my God. Whoa, it ran for way more years than I thought. Oh, only 4 seasons, but just split over some years. No idea what that is. Yeah, you remember this. What is this? Oh my God, dude. This was like really strange computer cartoon. Aired on YTV? What is YTV? Oh, it's Canadian? I didn't know that. It was on like a Canadian thing. Well, it obviously got pushed here because we saw it. Bob was the main character. Fong is the original command of mainframe. Am I sharing my screen? I'm not. Dot Matrix was one of the names, like the printers. Initially owns a local diner. She takes over command.com in the 3rd season. Is command.com like their government? Enzo Matrix. It's Bob Matrix and Enzo Matrix. Dot's younger brother. Frisket. Andrala. The name comes from Treasure of Atlantis game. She wears seashells in her outfit. The AI in her name. Oh, it's Andrea. Oh, that's an AI. Andrea, AI. Megabyte, who can turn into Gigabyte, is a Command and Conquer computer virus. He came from the virus known as Kilobyte. When merged with his sister Hexadecimal, they formed an even more powerful virus called Gigabyte. Hexadecimal is Megabyte's sister. Mouse is a freelance hacker. Hack and Slash. Ray Tracer. Oh my God. What a funny cartoon. Conceived in 1984. Animation began in 1990. And it aired in 1994. The last time the New York Rangers won a Stanley Cup. So that's what Dan's handle makes me think of. You guys saw this Daemon Tools thing I was talking about yesterday, and we had like no fucking information about it. Kaspersky just was like, hey, by the way, don't download shit off this site because it's malware. And the vendor just didn't say anything. Well, they did finally yesterday come out and confirm that they got hacked. We don't have issues of how. The company said they isolated the secured affected systems, removing the compromised files from distribution. Our investigation is ongoing. We don't know the root cause or scope. We're not attributing the incident. We're reviewing all components. This version was compromised. The issue's been contained. Users who downloaded the Trojanized software release, however, need to clean their systems too. I mean, okay, question for chat. Is it possible to clean your system? Just like as a consumer, if you downloaded this Trojanized software and there was malware on your machine, do you think there is a, like, you're 100% sure that you're good? You don't know where to start. You're a normie. Still going to be residual dirt. I don't know. For a long time, I thought, yeah, like, okay, delete the malware, right? But if malware was on your machine what does malware do? Malware like shovels persistence mechanisms into a bunch of different places. You received a Chinese mini PC, you wiped the drive. Yeah, but what about the firmware, bro? Gosh. Man, I've been stressed this week. Stress is not good for you, period. I was going to say like not good for something, and then I was like, oh no, it's stress AG 10 years in one. You clean it by re-imaging the PC. Yeah, I think that's literally it. I asked some people this. I was like, hey, you know, say you had a machine that you potentially were doing some pretty risky behavior on, you know, and just like downloading stuff a little bit more recklessly or something, or a torrent box or whatever, right? Like, how can you be confident you're good? And like the smartest people I know were like, you cannot. So yeah, I think it's straight scorch earth, right? Bought a Costco laptop 2 days ago called and how to remove the bloatware. He said wipe. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I used to do, right? I'm a Mac dude now, so there's no bloatware. But like when I used to like get Windows boxes, oh yeah, just like the like order of operations number 1 is just fresh install of the OS, right? So yeah, I mean, I think this is strange advice, right? They should uninstall daemon tools and scan the machine for malware. And I'm just like, see you, Francisco. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm not confident it's a thing. How about that? You have MacBook, built your PC to learn Linux, started with Fedora. Want to be knowledgeable in both. Started with Fedora. Damn. Debloat tools for sure out there. Forget the names though. Yeah, do we trust the debloat tools? You know, I'm so cynical. I've seen so many like pre-packaged, like get your PC started here, like install this shit. I'm always like, what else is in this little pre-packaged bit of software? Started with Fedora and now here we are. Started with Fedora and now I have a drinking problem is probably how the rest of that sentence goes. Bum, 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 bum. Ooh. Do we want to...
These were individual.
Do we want to watch...
These were individual.
No, it's an hour long. Darn. It's probably a good conversation, but it's an hour long, so we're not going to do it. Ooh, maybe I'll put it in my newsletter, though. What up, Roman? Started from the bottom. One substance or another gets abused. Oh, yeah. I was talking about this. I'll put it in chat. Oh, God. Giant, ugly UTM. Oh, my God. These UTMs on URLs are getting out of control. Morning Nemra. Boom. I was talking about this. I like everyone speaking on this video. Lindsay who's hosting it, used to write for Volnew. Then the ever popular and famous Sherrod DeGrippo, who's awesome. And then Jamie over at Huntress. This is an awesome podcast. It's just an hour long, so we're not going to watch it on stream. But there's the link. I'll probably put that in the newsletter. Sherrod is like one of the heads of the threat intel team over at Microsoft. Kind of a legend. All right. So, in some decent news, moving to final round tomorrow with CISO for the CloudSec role. Hey, that's cool. How many rounds have you been in? And were they hard? And share with the class. What questions did they ask you? The CISO is straight up in the interviewing panel for the CloudSec role at your level. Is it a small place or is it just a dope CISO? We got a few of these headlines today. 3 rounds. Yes, I got grilled about technical AWS implementations and explaining my steps. Big place. So dope CISO. Sweet. Good luck, man. Sounds like you got it in the bag. If you're already 3 rounds in and talking to the CISO wouldn't waste their time. It's probably a sniff test at this point. Right? Make sure you're a good fit. Make sure you're not an asshole. That's probably what it is. Mythos news? Did somebody say?
Mythos!
I don't know why this third button doesn't work sometimes.
Mythos! Mythos!
I don't know which of those 3 I like the best, but Mythos. I don't know if we have any Mythos news today. What if you have slight asshole tendencies? Usually you can hide those during a job interview. You're feeling good? Sweet, Roman. Proud of you, bud. I take full credit. I take full credit for all of your successes. He found me on TikTok Live, and now he's going to take over the world of cloud security. Correlation or causation, guys? All right, we got some peeps going to jail. 20-year-old teenage hacker, basically a teenage hacker. 20 is inflation, right? 20 is a teen now. You're still a teenager you're still a teenager up to about, what do we think, 23 nowadays? Due to inflation. I could be talked into 24. I could be talked into 24. You're still a teenager. I'm going to say 23. All right. California man sentenced to 78 months in prison for serving as a home invader and money launderer in a criminal ring. Okay. This is not, no, 25 is 21. 25 is 21. 25 is not a teenager. Right? 25 is 21. We get that. Frontal lobes developed. 26 is also 21. 25 is 21. 26 is also 21. You kicked off your parents' health insurance. 20, no, maybe 20. Man. I know people out here getting married at 26. 26 is kind of like the younger end of people start getting married, right? So 26 could be 25 is 21. 19 through 24 is 19. $18 is 12, right? 18 is 12. Or 13. 25 is 21. Yeah, I like that. 26, man. 26 is rough. 26 is 23. I'll go with. 26 isn't 21. I'm gonna take that back. 25 is 21. You're 39 and you're 23. No, 39 is 28. Is 28. $40 is 30. Right? I think we can all agree that 40 is 30. We're on to something. I need like a PhD level thesis of ageflation. I need like the, you know, that middle out scene on the middle out scene in Silicon Valley. It's probably the best scene that's ever happened on television. I need like that level of dissection of ageflation. Bill says 55 is 55. Yeah, okay. 55 is where we meet back up. It's hard because if you're 55, you kind of got through all of these ages before ageflation took place, right? So if you're 24, that means you're 19. Is 24 19? I think 24, you're a teenager. So yeah. '50s old. I mean, 35 is old. If we're just saying old, 35 is old. But 35 is 28. 35 through 39 is 28. You get a -5 debuff. We can't start taking in debuffs into account. So 39 plus autism equals 23. I have a hard time arguing against it. Your back hurts and you grunt when you sit now. Listen, grunting when you sit or stand, Roman, I think you identify as a man. That's just man shit. That's just, that's not age shit. That's just man shit. You just got to grunt when you stand up. Or you're going to go, time to go, You got to make those noises, You say ope when someone like walks past you a little too close. You go, All of a sudden I turn into like a middle-aged Minnesota mom when someone walks past me a little too close. Body age of like 60. Yeah, brain age, I'm like significant. Like if I did any of those like whoop things or those body things that are like your bio age, oh yeah, I'm like significantly worse than my bio age. Your nephew asks you if you're okay every time you stand up. Yeah, listen. You've been grunting since you're 30. Yeah. Grunting up and down is just... And sneezing, like my sneeze volume goes up every 6 months. Like every 6 months, it's like one notch on the sneeze volume. I haven't had a casual sneeze in years. You're somewhat new here. What's your professional name? It was the funniest fucking time for you to ask that question. We're on like a 30-minute complete off the rails bullshit. Excuse me. Are you actually going to talk about any security shit? Do you have any experience about cybersecurity? I'm new here. What the fuck are we talking about? Oh man, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I am the way that I am. My expertise in cybersecurity, which leaves me qualified to talk about anything we just talked about in the last 15 minutes. That's why I just made myself small, because I was like, yeah, we're going to talk about security. I started as a pen tester. Like early on, I was like doing a lot of pen testing stuff. Then I specialized into AppSec pen testing. Kind of got really, really into AppSec for many years. So like a lot of my like deep root knowledge is in AppSec. It's like probably the one area that I could like stand up and still yap a whole lot about. Then I was the head of security for a fintech company. And we were like on an early version of Kubernetes and Google Cloud. So I got really into like Kubernetes and container and cloud security. We got acquired by Goldman Sachs. And so I was like the cloud security, container security guy, but I was like a consumer facing head of security for Goldman Sachs. And then I went over to B of A to do the cloud and container security architecture for B of A. And they were like, hey, by the way, you got all this AppSec background. We need someone to take over vuln management because this guy's leaving. So I took over all vuln scanning and remediation for B of A. And then I was and then I got brought to Reddit to do cloud security stuff and immediately got transferred. Every time the 2 jobs in a row, I got brought on to do cloud stuff and they were like, hey, you know too much about vulnerability. So I was the head of software security for Reddit. So all code written at Reddit, I was responsible for. Okay. How did I do? Did I get that in under 90 seconds? There's my career in 90 seconds. If you like Google my name on YouTube and shit, tons of like conference talks, Black Hat, DEF CON, all sorts of stuff. But back to the important stuff. Yeah, I did. Sneeze volume is a thing. You never heard of like the dad sneeze? Dad sneezes are like legendary sneezes, right? Former AppSec turned news reporter. Oh, God. Am I a news reporter? I guess I am kind of a news reporter. So I run 2 companies now, Vulnerable U and Vulnerable Media. Vulnerable U is what you're participating in right now. It's my content. And then Vulnerable Media is like an agency. And I do some like fractional CISO work for smaller companies who don't have like a security department right now. I really like that. I like the 0 to 1 security, like build a security program stuff. So I try to help people do that. It's like baby's first security program. Let's go. You have no budget? Cool. Pay me. We'll figure it out. I've done that a lot. All right. I'm getting better at my career spiel. Cool. Well, there you go. I am legend. I got it. I figured out your name. I was like, I-A, and then I got it. I am legend. I'm going to call you legend. Yeah, legend. Thanks for being here. Welcome to the channel. I've seen your name before though, right? So you're somewhat new, but not first time, right? David, I didn't say hi to you. What's up? Your dad has to warn your mom before sneezes because it scares the shit out of her. Yeah. Be really funny if you dressed up as a weather boy, talked about cyber attacks, pointing to a map. All right. What subscriber goal do we need to get to make that happen? I'll do a weather outfit in a green screen. And I'll do everything I'm doing right now, but I'll move the camera back. I'll make a green screen and I'll stand as if I'm in the weather, pointing to things on the screen as if they're like hurricanes and tornadoes. I will do this. What subscriber goal do we need to get to make me do this? I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm not below it. 25,000 subs. No, I mean like it's for you live stream homies, all right? So like live stream, like paying subs. I don't mean YouTube subs. YouTube subs just kind of like happen. Thursday next week. Hold on. You're putting a time frame on something. I'm putting like a monetary goal. Like, hey, tell your friends. I want to be clear. I don't want to do this. Like, this will be embarrassing. This will be a stain on my personal brand. So you need to like share, like, and subscribe. Sounds like I do. No, I just would. I'm just like, I don't have a ton of shame. And then from North Korea points to Japan. No, bro, this would be legit funny. All right, I got to find the suit. I'll let you know when I acquire the funny weatherman suit. Or do I shave my beard and go Ron Burgundy mustache? Ron Burgundy mustache and wig. I'm Ron Burgundy? I'm Matt J. Cinco de Mayo. We missed it. I did stream on Cinco de Mayo. I didn't even announce it. I was a little stressy depressy on Cinco de Mayo on stream, wasn't I, 2 days ago? None of you were here. Don't worry. Fake stash needed. Fake stash needed. I've had this mustache since 8th grade, Roman. Fake stash needed. Fake stash needed. What? Brutta. Hold on. Why do I still have this? I put that news story up because someone was like, are we going to talk about security? While we were talking about sneezes. I haven't changed my GitHub profile picture in many, many years. And someone pointed this out to me because they added me. And like, I don't really pay too much attention to like my GitHub profile. But I mean, guys, what? Tried to like zoom in. I mean, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good beard situation, right? It's like a network Chuck level beard going on. It's from a while ago at this point. Fake mustache on top of my real mustache. That'd be funny. This is pictures from Ireland. What are these projects? Oh, that's right. I tried to make a Node version of secure headers. That's right. I started this a long time ago. There was this project called Secure Headers 14 years ago. Do you see that? You don't, because it's like kind of off the screen behind chat. 14 years ago. You guys want to see code I wrote 14 years ago? By hand? Wow, everyone clap.
Mythos!
Let's see Mythos do that. Let's see it. Where's my royalties, AI? You trained on my code. You trained on my code. I look older then. Yeah, it was probably 14 years ago. You trained on my code. Where is it? Where's my royalties? There you go. I set an X-frame options header, and I set an XSS protection header, and I set an X content type options header. Thanks, man. Thanks, legend. Appreciate you. A very hack the planet to you. This was the big one. Content security policy. Wow. Console log here. This code was not finished. I got console log here's up in here. I got console log here's. Console log here. I've matched on Internet Explorer. God damn. Embarrassing. All right. So what this was, for what it's worth, this is some bullshit project I started and didn't finish, was there was a project called Helmet and a project called Secure Headers. Right? I'm about to show like my private repos and shit, aren't I? I am. Public, quick. I don't care. Let's go to the old ones. Yeah, Helmet was a JavaScript one. There was one called Secure Headers that was for Ruby projects. And so I was trying to make the node ones. What is Cockador? Oh, is my buddy Scott Roberts? I don't remember what that. Does that mean shitter in Spanish? I don't think he knows that. Just sub, where's my mustache? Too much security talk. Is this thing on? Tap, tap, tap. What did I miss? If you're not console logging all over the place, you're not really developing. Exactly. Hey, before AI, we had to throw console.logs everywhere, okay? All right? Fuck. Oh, Prozac. That's my buddy Zach, and I used to work on projects together. Anyway, there was a secure headers project for, I think it was for Ruby, that like you could add it to your Ruby project and add all these security headers to it. And I was a Node.js guy, so I was like, I'm gonna make a Node version of it. And then Helmet came out like a year later, and Helmet actually did the damn thing better. So it's like you could include Helmet in your Express.js middleware, and then you can add all the security headers to it. And then Helmet just did what I was trying to do, but better. Right? So like, oh no, this was the same. So does their CSP have console logs? No, they finished their code. Oh man. Anyway, this was like, we used Helmet. A bunch of people used Helmet. It's like, put your helmet on. Basically how to add the security headers. Pretty much required reading if you want to do anything with CSP, because CSP will absolutely break your website. X-frame options, all this kind of shit. So add the security headers to your stuff. Oh wait, this is my fork of it. I'm 1,000 commits behind. Hold on. Let's see what the real project turned into. It's still active? My code was 14 years old on Helmet. They got Dependabot working on this shit last week. What? Hello? I'm a contributor. I'm a contributor to an active security GitHub. Guys. I'm a security engineer. You guys are watching a security engineer talk. I'm a contributor. They have a security.md file. I'm just messing with you guys. What did Helmet wind up turning into? Whoa, they got a lot more headers. Is there CSP? CSP is the hardest thing. So is their CSP bit much more mature? Yes, it is. CSP is a bitch, by the way. Anyone in chat ever roll out CSP? Whoa, that's like significantly more matured. Sorry, this rabbit hole here, but rabbit hole. Do we want to go through any other old GitHub projects? Is this fun? Is this fun for you guys? Are you here for this? Wait, I'm about to show all my private repos again. I don't know if any of my private repos are actually even that secret. All right, these are the public ones. DNSD, helmet. These are things I forked. So Gauntlet, I used to, how many commits behind Gauntlet am I? Not a lot. Gauntlet died, right? 13 years ago. Gauntlet died about 5 years ago, it seems. Gauntlet was a security project that I used to speak at South by Southwest. I think 3 years in a row, we spoke at South by Southwest teaching people to use Gauntlet, which was like a way to run your code through a bunch of different security tests. So like you ran your code through the Gauntlet, get it? And so like you'd run a bunch of different security tools at once through your code. We'll be here to 2027. Why did I fork straight up Angular? That's hilarious. Hubot. Oh my God, guys. 13 years ago, Hubot was a chat bot. Were we pre-Slack? We might have been pre-Slack. Special thanks to Matt J for writing tests. We needed those. And Jcran? Jcran's a homie. Well, all these people are homies, but I didn't know Jcran wasn't part of this whole crew at the time. Guys, Hubot was a super interesting. This is a public archive. This was archived in 2025. This was like before. Yeah, see, there's no Slack API key. This was like chat ops before chat ops existed. So we were like doing Shodan, VirusTotal, Google Safe Browsing, OpenDNS. We were doing all these like lookups, threat intel type things out of a chat bot, using robots to fight bad guys, turning Hubot into a thing. Scott's awesome. Scott ran Defer at GitHub. GitHub was big on chat ops for a while. So GitHub lives in chat. So we built tools around it. This is not Slack, everybody. This is a world before Slack. This was a chat room that people lived in, and Hubot was like basically this little chat bot that lived in your room. Customizable kegerator powered life embodiment tool. Yeah, literally they powered like the kegerator at the GitHub HQ here based on coffee scripts. Oh my gosh, guys. Look at how old we are. I forgot what HipChat was. HipChat was what we were just looking at, by the way. I forgot HipChat was a thing. We need a vol new IRC. You guys say it every week. We need something, right? I'll fucking make it. I've like avoided making it. I'll make it. So these are all the different chat connectors that you can plug Hubot into. We were using HipChat, which was an Atlassian thing. Slack didn't exist. Did not exist pre-Slack. GitHub did everything via Hubot. It was like truly, it was basically like build features that are like Slack features into just random chat rooms. Jesse's awesome. By placing tools in the conversation, everyone is pairing all the time. Isn't it funny that like we kind of take this for granted now? Like this is how Reddit deployed code. We would like, you'd have to like grab the conch from a Slack bot and then that let you do code things. Like you had to be in Slack in order to deploy code at Reddit. And isn't it like we just kind of take this for advantage now, but this was like a big revolution. Goal, adapt chat ops for incident response. So here you go. These were slash commands in the chatbot, and now he built a bunch of OSINT and threat intel stuff into chatbots. This would be a useful project for anyone to start today as a Slack thing, by the way. Like, even if this already exists, hey, all of you early career people that hang out in here and like are looking for a fun project to practice coding, rewrite this entire tool for Slack and modern OSINT tools. Just write it from scratch. You can vibe code parts of it as long as you understand what the vibe coding is doing. Anyone looking for an idea, here you go. This is 12-year-old, 13-year-old code in CoffeeScript, which I don't even know if CoffeeScript is still even a thing. I haven't touched it in a gazillion years. These .coffee files, hilarious. Yeah, we used to live here. If you're looking for a project idea, do this 2026 version. What's the 2026 version of this Hubot like virus, whatever the hell, virus total VTR? I don't know what VTR stands for. I forget what VTR stands for. There you go, guys. And yeah, I wrote the tests, I guess. I guess I wrote the tests. I was really into test-driven development at the time. For JavaScript specifically. And so kind of what I would do would be how I coded back then. If you guys want to know how I coded in the old days before AI, was I would write tests first. And then you write code to make the test pass. So you write the test of like, I need a function that takes in this and spits out this, and it's got to look like this. And I would write that as a test. And then I would write the code to make that test pass. And the way that, like, for whatever reason in my brain, that made me write very like chunk, small functions, like testable. I was writing testable code by nature of that workflow. And like testable code is clean code. And so like before I was doing that, I would wind up like with these Franken functions, right? I would like write these functions that did too many things. It's like, oh, I would think about the whole project. I'd be like, oh, I want to take in this and do a bunch of stuff to it and then spit it out. And in reality, the do a bunch of stuff to it is probably like 5 different little things. And each of those things should be their own functions. Just not how I would write code. Because you don't get taught a lot of these like good coding practices in university. And so you definitely don't get taught fucking unit testing or behavioral testing or anything like that. And so, yeah, I would like write these tests first and then whatever. And then I would write the code. So that was like my contribution to a bunch of these people. What were we doing? Listen for Strider webhooks. What was Strider? Got it working. 12 years ago. Got it working. So I was obviously all in on Hubot because then me and my homie Zach started writing Hubot stuff. What was Strider? Strider was like a build management thing or something for like CI/CD. It was like early CI/CD stuff. God, old. All right, and then here you go. More random projects that I needed to do. Like when people are like, oh, what project should I write? This was like my attempt at like a random open source thing that I needed because I just needed this. I was like early at my head of security job at that fintech company in 2015. And I was like, oh man, I got all these logs and I'm like trying to figure out like the IPs that are hitting this site to do some. This was like a first part of a problem that I had. I was like, oh, let me like write a little command line tool that people can use with some options, because I'd never done that before. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, here's your HTTPD access logs. It takes Apache or Nginx log files and parse them. You could do multiple logs, whatever. That's it. And it just parsed them into like random stuff. This wasn't a big deal, right? Pre-AI code, everyone avert your eyes. I wrote this by hand. Any console logs? No. All right. Professional developer. Oh, no worries. Have fun justifying your paycheck. Thanks for hanging out. So yeah, I'm just trying to give you guys ideas, because a bunch of people were like, what should I do to like learn stuff? And it's like, well, this was one Python file that took snort logs and spit out stuff that I needed it to spit out. Cool. You know, snort stats. I even made ASCII art. Check that out. This IP address was causing all of these alerts. That must mean this IP address was bad, right? It was just like trending analysis of like, hey, do we have anything that's like this? I think this is what my thing was like, hey, I need to like figure out the people behaving badly in my logs. Okay, let's just do some quick stats. Anyway, there you go. Stream stash. Someone said cockador means shitting. I don't know that. Portuguese for hunter. Portuguese for hunter. Hopefully. This is another Scott tool, right? Yeah. Is this archived too? No, it's still up. Hasn't been touched in 8 years, but it's still up. Extracting common indicators of compromise from a block of text. See? So just like little problems. Work on projects. All right, there you go. That was my distraction of the day, or distraction of the hour, I should say. Who got arrested and why? So this one was like under the guise of a cybersecurity story, but this person was breaking into people's houses and laundering money. You know? That's not hacker shit, right? That's like thug shit. Carrying 2 firearms and fake ID documents. When he was arrested, he had 2 firearms and fake IDs on him. Ordered to pay $2.5 million in restitution. Criminal ring targeted individuals believed to hold significant cryptocurrency. Was this the person that broke into... There was like a streamer that had a lot of Bitcoin, and they like broke in and held them at gunpoint and stuff. They used social engineering to trick the victims into giving them access to digital wallets. And when the victims stored funds in hardware wallets, they shifted to this person's expertise in residential burglaries. Served as the criminal expertise instrument of last resort when his co-conspirators couldn't deceive the victims into handing over their crypto or hack their way into digital accounts. He would break into their homes and steal their hardware wallets. The scheme blended sophisticated online fraud with old-fashioned burglary. Traveled to Winsboro, Texas. From where? Oh, man, cross state lines. Cross state lines. You know what that means. You get the feds on your ass. Broke into victim's home, stole hardware wallet with 100 Bitcoin, $5 million. Laundered the funds through crypto exchanges. Isn't that fucking nuts that people can just have like $5 million in their house this way? Isn't that just fucking crazy that that's the world we live in? Opened a fraudulent digital payment card account. What was the New Mexico thing? Same year, flew to New Mexico, monitored victims' home for several days. Using a cell phone? What? How do you monitor a home using a cell phone? Broke in by smashing a window with a brick. Tracking the victim's location through his iCloud account, confirmed they were not home. Opened a fraudulent digital payment card account using fake identification to enable his accomplices to spend the stolen funds at nightclubs. This is always one of my questions, right? It's like, okay, you steal and launder $5 million in Bitcoin. Like, how are you spending this on a Lamborghini or a nightclub? So he opened a fraudulent digital payment card account using fake IDs and filling those accounts with laundered funds, buy more than $250,000 in designer clothing on their behalf. I just don't understand how you ever do this kind of shit without getting caught. I think it's just kind of very unlikely that you will not get caught at this stage of the game where we are on these funds. One of the criminal ringleaders was jailed in September. Pharaoh continued laundering crypto money until to fund the leader's legal defenses. Oh, geez. Last month, 22-year-old of Newport Beach was sentenced to 70 months in prison for laundering funds stolen in the same cryptocurrency heist. 14 suspects were charged in September and May with RICO conspiracy involving over 4,100 Bitcoin, more than $230 million in laundering the stolen funds through mixing services and crypto exchanges. They used the stolen cryptocurrency to finance lavish lifestyles. The criminal group also rented homes in the Hamptons, Los Angeles, and Miami for $40,000 to $80,000 per month, as well as private jets and a fleet of at least 28 cars. All right, so we've watched some videos on these hacker crews, and they literally say, yeah, so I'm going to go to jail for 70 months. And like, I'm going to come and yeah, I had to pay $2.5 million in restitution, but I laundered $230 million. So they're like, no matter what, I have a stash somewhere. Like someone said that they literally had some hardware wallets buried in the ground. And they're like, yeah, I might get caught and I might go do some time, but look, like is what they say when they catch and interview these people. 6.5 years is a lot though. Right? I think the punishment needs to basically make that calculus in their head not worth it. I'm like, yeah, so what? I go to jail for a little while. Shows up with a shovel at your house 10 years from now. He's like, what's up? Here for my hardware wallet. Let's do it. Well, we couldn't let Palo Alto be the only edge device that was catching 0 days this week. Could we? Could we? Could we? The other 0-day factory of the week is like, I met a guy in Austin that just started a new job at Avanti, and I was like, I'm sorry, I only know your name when bad things happen. They're probably a decent product and like a company that whatever, right? Has a company that whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's probably, they probably have very happy customers. But I only read about them when things go wrong. This doesn't look like it's in any of their firewall stuff. Endpoint Manager Mobile. Is that usually what the 0 days pop up in? I don't think so, right? This is more of like the IT management side of things. At the time of disclosure, we are aware of a limited exploitation which requires admin authentication for successful exploitation. We are not aware of any customers being exploited by other vulnerabilities disclosed today. Ooh, wait a second then. Wait a second. Guys, help me. Help the dumb streamer. Dumb streamer needs help. If you need admin rights on the machine in order to exploit this vuln, right? Which is remote code execution, but you need admin auth for it. They are aware of exploitation. They are not aware of any other exploited vulns. Oh, disclosed today. So then, okay. Any of the other vulns disclosed today is the distinction. So you're chaining. So they are aware. I wish that we could see what the chain is, though. So they're aware of exploitation of this CVE, but this CVE isn't a first stage of the attack. If you need admin auth here. So I wonder, in the scenarios that they are aware of this exploitation, what's the first stage? They're saying review accounts with admin rights and rotate creds. So we're just saying stolen admin creds, if we're reading between the lines. The people being exploited, the admin creds were stolen, and then they got RCE on the box due to that. There's only 850 of these boxes on the internet and only 180 in North America. So this is super small. Company said no evidence these flaws had been exploited in the wild, except, because of all these other vulns. Got it. In January, Avanti disclosed 2 other critical code injection vulnerabilities on the same endpoint management thing that were exploited in 0-day effects. Yeah, the issue is that Avanti is used in some sensitive networks, right? That's why they have such a target on it. They have 40,000 customers. Multiple other Avanti EPMM 0 days have been exploited in attacks in recent years to breach a wide range of targets, including government agencies worldwide. That's why it's a target. 33 Avanti vulnerabilities exploited in the wild, 12 of which were abused by various ransomware operations. Yeah, it makes sense, right? This is endpoint management software. So if you're a ransomware vendor that can execute code on the endpoint management software, you can deploy your like encryptor or whatever to the entire fleet. This is like what happened to that medical manufacturer, Stryker. Well, no, it wasn't Avanti and it wasn't a 0-day. They just popped a Microsoft Intune account and just wiped fucking everything that Intune could touch, right? But same thought, right? Man, it would suck to be this company right now. Talk about this is kind of crazy. So I don't know if you guys know She Networks. I don't know her in person. I just know her like from the internet. And she does like content with some of my homies. But man, not a good look for her day job with Black Hills, who, like, I know a lot of people kind of hang around the Black Hills community. But this is a very public, disgruntled employee right now, right? After not receiving a raise in the 4 years I've worked for Black Hills, which sucks right away. If you don't receive a raise every year, you receive a pay decrease. If you stay flat, that's decrease because inflation's been nuts, right? So over 4 years, you are making less money than when you started, right? Like, to be clear, like flat does not mean flat. Like flat means you are losing buying power. They've now decided to reduce my pay by $40K after coming back from maternity leave and moving my role to solely pen testing. It's pretty gnarly. Cost of living adjustments should be at least 4% annually. Yeah, and I mean, even that's kind of a joke if you're killing it somewhere, right? But yeah, if you're flat year over year, you're losing money. Just FYI. Ooh. My Bug Bounty homie Rezo is saying that Bug Bounty is dead. Available bugs. AI written code is better at this point. Yeah, Roman, I didn't have a negative opinion of Black Hills either. But some other people jumped up into that thread and were like, yeah, I worked there. It ain't it. I don't know. I can't possibly join on the shit talk. I don't know enough. So I can't, but like, that's not a good look, right? Also, like, potentially something a lawyer should be talking about, right? With if you're on maternity leave. If you're on maternity leave, it's pretty fucked up. Also, like, if she still currently works there and she wrote that, I mean, kind of an awkward day at the office tomorrow, right? Sucks that she got pushed to that. Wow. I'm just like trying to go through the replies to see if there's like another side to the story. I don't think so, right? I mean, it's a bad look. One of my friends, Tiberius, was like, yeah, he came out and was like, he kind of dogpiled on it too. I don't know. Zach Hill was there a while ago, right? Oh no, you're right. He was at TCM a while ago and then went to Anti-Siphon, which is Black Hills. You saw a response to the BB narrative, basically saying with all the AI produced findings creating a lot of noise for the programs. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I like Zach a lot too. I've met Zach a few times in person. He's even like, he's even hopped on a call with me to like talk through YouTube stuff and like lessons learned. No, it looks like he's still there. Looks like he's still there. He was at TCM a while ago. Oh, but here's the network check situation you just were talking about. I guess they're partnering up. Is Jeremy Black Hills? I don't know. Jeremy. He hasn't updated the LinkedIn. Well, it looks like they're just partnering. COVID days with Zach are a good time. Zach's a good dude. Zach's a good dude. Super nice dude. Like I said, super generous. Oh, wait. Here. What is this? Share a new chapter. I'm thrilled to announce I've joined the phenomenal team at Network Chuck as their community and product manager. Oh, okay. There you go. That's a stellar hire. Good for Chuck, man. Good for Chuck. I was looking for a community manager. I can't afford a full-time Zach. But yeah, good for them. Wait, is he... Oh. He started a thing? This must be new, right? Ah, this must be new. I didn't know about this. I also am not his audience, so this could not be new. I mean, Chuck is like goated YouTuber, right? Aspirational. Guess you've got to get your CCNA. You couldn't fucking pay me. You couldn't fucking pay me to get my CCNA. No way. No effing way. I mean, we could pay you. There is a number. Oh my God. I don't even, oh, man. Guys, networking is probably my weakest situation. Okay. It's probably my weakest pillar. Oh my God. No, I would like claw my eyes out. I would claw my eyes out, I'm sure. Oh yeah, here. Do we want to feed into the drama some more? Like I said, I have no other information. We're just going off of drama. But Tiberius, who's a homie, friend of the show, trust him. So for whatever that's worth. I haven't spoken out against this because I've had friends who work there. Don't support them. I'm like, okay. Why? I've seen two friends get screwed over now. One got gaslit repeatedly about their work. Didn't have a direct manager they could go to. Working there sounded like chaos. They managed to maintain a reputation in the community through free, cheap courses and a card game. That's not enough. I don't know, man. They're definitely getting beat up right now. The stuff with Serena with Shiak Networks is not that's not cool. I'm not going to defend that at all. But like someone working there and having like a weird issue that like they didn't feel like they had a clear manager and all that. I mean, running a small shop is hard. I'll say that. It's hard to make an awesome place to work awesome. But all the free stuff made me think exactly that. Yeah, I think they have like a really, I mean, they've got a pretty good reputation on the street, right? So I think they really should come out and start talking about a lot of this. They should come out ahead of this, right? I don't think they've made a statement yet. They probably should. You got some big names coming out saying working for you sucks. You should come out, take accountability, and say what you're going to do to get ahead of it, right? Hey, yeah, we fucked up. Here's what we're going to do. Any more? Got to go full corporate at some point. Trying to blend the true community seems impossible. I mean, yeah, a lot of companies kind of you try to reject like the big company culture when you're like a small thing. And then like you start winding up like recreating a lot of the shit that you revolt against from first principles, because you just start solving these individual problems and then you start to realize why things are the way they are. It's like, yeah, it's bad, but the alternative is worse for certain things. It's like, we don't have HR. And it's like, yeah, you don't have HR because you're, three homies like hanging out. Once you're 40 homies, you're not all actually homies. And you're like, oh, we should really make sure we don't get sued for shit like this. Man, we should really start a role that like makes sure that we don't fuck people over on parental leave. We're going to call it the human team. I don't know. You know what I mean? You just start like, yeah, stuff starts happening. All right. A bunch of hackers went to jail this week. So we did the crypto one. Here's the North Korean laptop farm one. Knowing the organization pretty well, this makes you super sad if hacker. Bill, I'm the same way. I can't possibly claim to know the organization well. I don't know anyone who like works there. I don't know anyone who runs it. I have no other information than those two tweets. So like, this is me just like reading some infosec drama because there's some infosec drama going on. I think it would be disingenuous to ignore it being me. And so, that's what I'm saying. I think it would be smart of them to get out ahead of this, is all I'm saying. Because I agree. They have a reputation. They have a good reputation. They need to maintain that good reputation. So they got to come out and be like, yo, fucked up. Yeah. Like maybe a small explanation. You don't want to over explain because then you're throwing your employees under the bus, right? Like if you're like, oh, well, performance, like it's not a good look, right? If you come out and try to say performance things for someone who just got back from maternity leave, not a good look, right? So you got to come out and just like fall on it and be like, yeah, we fucked up. Here's what we're going to do to make sure that these kinds of things are taken care of. It's the bottom of my right arm say. Shoo. My nerd tattoo, my basic bitch nerd tattoo. Like John should say something. Yeah. Who's John? Is John like head of Black Hill? I see. This is how little I fucking know. Who's John? I'm trying to figure out who John is. John Strand. I know that name. I don't know John personally. Oh, yeah. He's the owner. Yeah. Okay. 122 years at Sands Institute, his LinkedIn says. He looks great for 122 years old. Yeah, I know his name. I have like a good opinion of John from what I know. Like I said, I have a good opinion of this whole company from what I know. Like that's why these two tweets are a bit odd, right? Anyway, so I hope they come out and address that. All right, now I went down the rabbit hole. You know, like I said, I can't feed into it because I don't know what I don't know. None of us do. What is this? I'm getting offered commission on if I sell a product in my newsletter that is a GDPR compliance kit for $200. They'll give me 40% affiliate commission. What are these people doing outside my office, man? The issue with working in a glass fishbowl is, and I put the on-air sign on for a reason, but people just like fucking do a bunch of shit in the hallway here. I'm like, hi, I'm on camera. All right, are these the two people that we already knew about? Yeah, they are. Okay, so these aren't new people, but they got sentenced. I remember this name. So these people had already gotten caught. Now they're getting sentenced. 18 months? 18 months in prison? Not worth it, right? Because they made like no money. But 18 months to like help facilitate pre-large scale espionage seems a little light. Did they play like super dumb that they didn't know what they were doing? Yeah, Bill, I can't possibly like say a bad word about these people. I don't know them, right? IN's faculty are generally good people for sure. I mean, 18 months is not worth it for the amount of money that they got, but I'm also thinking it's a little light for what they did, right? These cases should leave no doubt that Americans who choose to facilitate these schemes will be identified and held accountable. Hosting laptops for North Korean IT workers is a federal crime which directly impacts our national security, right? Like, I agree. You're like facilitating nation state espionage and funding like their nuclear program. Prince was indicted and charged in January along with his alleged co-conspirators who collectively obtained work for North Korean IT workers, earning nearly $950,000 in salary payments. Not Prince. Prince didn't earn that, right? The workers did. The 64 workers owned, like, got paid that he placed. He made $89,000. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Newt was arrested a year after the FBI searched his home. Officials said he made multiple false and misleading statements and destroyed evidence. Victim companies paid North Korean workers tied to Newt's laptop form $250K. The remote IT workers transferred those funds to Newt and accounts associated with North Korean and Chinese nationals. He was sentenced on May 1st in order to pay $15,000 is what he to the victim companies and forfeit an additional $15,000, which is equivalent to the amount of his direct take from the scheme. Like, insane, right? Like 15 grand was your price for nation state level espionage. That's pretty wild. All right. Any other? Yeah. I want to go through this. A multi-stage code of conduct phishing campaign. I like going through actual phishing campaigns that we see. The stats might be interesting. Volume of phishing messages. Oh, just Microsoft in general. Yeah, so that's going to be thousands. Not like this campaign, right? All right, here's the campaign, right? Sample phishing email. Code of conduct review. At the top of each message, a notice stated the message had been issued through an authorized internal channel and links to attachments that have been reviewed and approved for secure access. Yeah, you see that up top? Can you read it? Let me see. Yeah, you can read that, right? This message was issued through an authorized channel. Linked resources supporting materials have been reviewed. It's like the below message is totally legit. I like looking at this kind of stuff. That's a pretty good one, right? Not a lot of jank. Personalized to the organization. Each campaign email included a PDF attachment, awareness case log file, disciplinary action, employee device handling case. The attachment provided additional context about the supposed conduct review. So these people think they're getting in trouble. A workplace conduct matter connected to blank policy standards has been logged for formal review. This notice is being shared to the recipient so we can review the record. So like, you're getting in trouble. We're opening a case. The purpose of this process is document the matter carefully and preserve associated records. Personalized attachment. Got it. Got it. This is good. This is good. This is probably very successful, right? And then this is the PDF. Verification. Oh, how nice. Verification. Yeah, this is the PDF. Kind of looks a lot like the email, huh? When clicked, users are initially directed to one of two attacker-controlled domains, acceptable use policy calendly.de, protectionoutlook.de. These landing pages displayed a Cloudflare CAPTCHA presented as a mechanism to validate the users are coming from a valid session. The CAPTCHA likely served as a gating mechanism to impede automated analysis and sandbox. Okay, so it's not ClickFix. Looks like it was actually a Cloudflare thing. You complete the CAPTCHA and users were redirected to an intermediate site designed to prepare them for the final stage of the attack. This page informed users that the requested documentation was encrypted and required an account authentication. While this stage of the attack has several hallmarks of device code phishing, we were only able to confirm the attacker in the middle portion of the attack chain. So here's the verification code. Open a sign-in window, enter the verification code, authenticate your account, return to view your document. So after clicking the review and sign button, we presented with a sign-in prompt requesting email address. After submission, we have a second CAPTCHA. Users were shown this message indicating the verification was successful and the case was being prepared. Following these steps, users were redirected to a third site hosting the final stage of the attack. Analysis in the underlying code indicates that the final destination varied depending on whether the user was doing mobile or desktop system. Managed services 365.assumetrend.org. Maintained within the organization's centralized compliance tracking system. Final page instructing them to sign in with their Microsoft account. Redirected users to Microsoft auth page, initiating an attacker in the middle session hijacking flow. I mean, pretty good, right? pretty good. Gonna be successful. If I might make a video about this, and my comments are gonna be like, if you fall for this, you're stupid and you deserve it. No one would fall for that. It's like, yeah, they would. And yeah, they do. And we don't blame them. We don't blame them. All right. I think that's about where the news stops for today that I gathered. Anything I missed that you guys want to talk about? Otherwise, we can maybe do a quick react stream, and then I'm going to go write the newsletter for tomorrow morning. Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-bum-bum. I don't think we missed a whole lot. Should we pull up some videos? What's this thing that Chrome like downloaded automatically with something? What is this?
Word for today, ladies and gentlemen, it's consent. This video is brought to you by consent. Now, what's the most important thing about consent? It must be readily and visibly apparent, okay? So why are we talking this hard? Well, it turns out Google doesn't necessarily enjoy the word consent. And why are we saying this? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been following what's happened in the last couple days, some eager McBeaver found that Google was installing AI slop into your computer without telling you that they were installing AI slop onto your computer. So I decided, I'm going to go down the investigatory chain and figure out what the fuck's happening. Now, to give you an idea, if you look at web browser market share, okay, surprisingly, Google is still one of the most used browsers out there, okay? For instance, in this quick browser stats, you can see that Chrome is sitting at 67.97%. Safari is sitting at 17.09%, so Apple gang rise up. Microsoft Edge users are sitting at 5.5%. Furries are at 2.2%. Samsung browsers are at basically 2%, and Opera is sitting at 2%. Now, Chrome can be kind of a wild pick because a lot of the biggest web browsers that you use kind of run on Chrome. For instance, I tend to use something like Brave browser, which is my default browser, and this is effectively a Chrome-based browser. Except in my opinion, it's just a lot better. But anyways, let's go and deep dive into what's been happening over here. So silently, without your consent, Google is downloading this 4 gig AI model onto a special folder on your device called opt guide on device model. So I decided that I'm going to check if it's actually installed onto my Linux system. So by quickly entering this one command, I found that my system didn't actually have it installed. And I had to wonder, do I even have Google Chrome installed? Which I do. I have it right here. So here's Google Chrome, and thankfully on my Linux system, I didn't find it. So I was wondering, what is everyone talking about? Now I realized that I do actually have a normie computer. I have a Macintosh sitting right there that I do basically all my work on. Now I have Google Chrome installed there for debugging stuff, like, debugging web pages and whatnot, and trying out, things like WebGPU or whatever. So I decided to go onto my Macintosh, and lo and behold, it was silently installed without my consent. So you can see from this quick little screen recording, one of the things that I did on my terminal was I entered in a command to check in the Google directory if this was actually present. And lo and behold, that 4 gigabyte file was just sitting on my computer. So to show you where to exactly find it, if you open up your Macintosh HD and in your Windows system, it'll usually be in your app data directory. You can go to your user folder and you can find the hidden folder, which is your library in the Mac case, or app data for Windows users. And of course, over here, you can go to application support, you can go to the Google folder, and in the Chrome folder, you should be able to find that specific opt guide on device model folder. So you open that up, and there's this folder right here. So sometimes they do tell me that it double stacks, like you might have multiple weights, and you'll find it right over here, the weights bin file, sitting around 4.27 gigabytes on my system, purely.
Man, it's a big file. What, forcing more bloat on your systems
without any fucking consent. So I was wondering, wait a minute, did I actually enable this somehow? So I opened up Google Chrome on my actual system. Now to show you how long it's been, Macs tend to have this thing where after a while they rip permissions away from applications. So I probably didn't use this Google Chrome installation for over a month, and you can see it's asking for notifications. It's even asking to find shit on my local network, but effectively I'm like, all right, let's just go down the road. Okay, let's see in the settings pane, do I have it enabled? So I go to the settings tab, I go to the privacy and security tab, and I go all the way to the security section, and I actually didn't have it enabled. So you can see right over here, standard protection is kind of where everyone's at, but enhanced protection is where they have real-time AI slop protection against the dangerous websites and downloads. So again, if you go to your standard browser, like for instance, I use Brave, you go to privacy and security, you go to the security section, I don't even have AI slop from a browser that pushes a lot of AI slop. The only difference is Brave browser will actually ask for your consent and allow you to bring your own models if you don't trust whatever.
So we're just saying AI slop because it's AI? Or do we know that this is super bad? Because like for me, I'm reading this and I'm hearing, well, yeah, it kind of sucks that it's massive, but it seems like it's a very tailored local model. So like of all the things that Google could have done here, a local model seems almost more privacy preserving than Google would normally be, right? Especially in Chrome. I don't know if I'm like super anti this, right? Why do I feel like the contrarian this week? Between all these vulns, I'm like downplaying, and then this, I'm down. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel I'm gonna keep watching. But why are we like super anti this besides the fact that it's like 4 gigs and has the word AI in it?
They're selling, right? Which, again, I think is a great alternative. I think it's the story here is that Google, without your consent, is now installing slop into your system.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like you installed a web browser that is going to push new features. Do you consent for every new feature that shows up in software that we have? It was opted out. He downloaded the weights and models. The weights and models file was on the computer, but it wasn't being used. Right? Like the setting was off by default. So the setting was opt-in. So I get the criticism of like, hey, you downloaded some 4 gig file onto my, so now Chrome's folder is 4 gigs bigger than it was yesterday due to an update. It's kind of like weird and annoying, but it's like we have a privacy preserving local model that's going to help detect bad shit. I don't understand like the without your consent thing. Like I catch a lot of new features when I update my browser and I'm like, what do you expect the user experience to be when you update something? If you update a piece of software, are you like line by line checking your consent for the different feature line items in the update?
Remember, we used to call this, what was it, like your computer back in the day? Like, it's a joke. Now it's called this PC. One of the big disdains that I have with big tech is they feel like they're just entitled to my computer. Half the time, people just have Google Chrome installed by default. So by default, these companies just want to ass ram your computer with tons of pointless bloat and ruin their application. There used to be a time where this fat Indian guy would download Google Chrome as one of the first 5 applications on a Windows installation. This was a long time ago, by the way. And I would be happy. I would be like, all right, cool, I got the best browser. There's a reason why I switched off Google Chrome, because it's a bloated dog shit browser. Now, I'm sure there's somebody in the audience going, but Muda, how do I get rid of the fact that this AI slop exists on my system? How do I use Chrome without this existing? You know, there's people who say, has someone figured out a surefire way to permanently get rid of this file? Don't be a smartass and say, stop using Chrome. Please help people who are still using computers from 5 years ago with OSs on dinky SSDs, because someone thought at the time it would be a fantastic idea for a gaming computer. I can't afford to do anything about this. The economy has been shit. Bro, we're like 5 stages away from blaming the fact that you are not installing a new free private browser instead, that takes seconds, literally probably has less system requirements than Google Chrome, and you're blaming the fucking economy? Well, again, I'll help out over here. So for instance, on your actual system, you can go and enter this Chrome flags optimization guide on device model in the URL. You'll get sent to this section on your, Chrome backend, and you can just basically disable it and restart the browser right here. So that's a quick and dirty way to get rid of all of this optimization for now. Now, to show you how this kind of works is obviously these models will download as soon as your device is detected as, very compatible with this. So obviously my main Linux system, which I do run AI stuff on, can obviously run Google's models.
Whoa, you run AI stuff on your Linux system? Why didn't you say that was slop? Like, if we're anti-AI, we got to be anti-AI. What are you running AI on your Linux system, dude? You said slop every other time you said AI in this video. I don't mean to be like the pro AI guy. Like, I get it. And I usually like this guy's videos. This is weird, man. This is a weird thing.
And of course, obviously, the MacBook that I'm using can also run a lot of the same AI. So clearly, Google decided to download it there. Now, ultimately, what is this? This is obviously Google's Nano or Gemini Nano, which is sort of Google's on-device AI model stuff. If you want to actually try this yourself,
hot take, on-device AI like nano models are a good thing of the options that we're going towards if we're going towards this stuff, right? Like, I would love if Apple Intelligence on the iPhones was like good and private and local. Like, hot take, of all the things that Google could have fucking done here, a small local slop is when everyone else do when I do it. It's fancy coding. What's up, Zach? Like, like no one wants to be like the pro AI defending guy, and I get it. I get like a lot of the criticism with AI. I get it. But you can't say slop, and like consent. Like, you're supposed to consent to literally every feature that gets updated into software that you use. This is a weird one.
On a cell phone, you can actually go download Google's like AI tools, like it's on the App Store or the Play Store, and you can install Gemma on your local device and use a AI chatbot without ever connecting to the internet. So the big benefit of this is, and again, the important part about the story is, this is local artificial intelligence. You're not connecting to Google's
Fantastic.
Gemini servers and sending information back and forth, as far as my understanding is concerned.
Fantastic.
Here, right?
Gemma's cool.
Obviously, the only telemetry you're sending is that you're downloading the model, and in some cases, your system is reporting that the model exists on your system, and sites can and will interact with it, right?
Yeah.
Generally, the idea over here is that AI stuff is becoming a lot more accessible for people. So, for instance, it's kind of like the ray tracing stuff that came out like years ago with the RTX 20 series. A lot of people, were like, this is only for the rich kids. And now a lot of the desktop consumer GPUs that you're buying, hell, even phones nowadays can do calculations like ray tracing. AI is kind of similar in that way that, years ago it was like when it first dropped, who the fuck is able to run a chatbot on their system? And now we're able to run chatbots on cell phones. So times be evolving, ladies and gentlemen. That's kind of the reality of the situation. But again, consent is the fucking important part of the fucking story here. Google has not asked for the user's consent. They just decided, fuck it, install the AI slop.
All right. We're gonna do something really quick here. All right. Let's do this. We're gonna go to release notes. All right. So this is probably one of the ones that we're like worried about. All right, let's go back a few. So back in January, Chrome released Chrome 144 on January 13th. Okay. Excuse me. Hold on. I got to make a YouTube video really quick. I did not consent for CSS find in page highlights pseudos. Consent, ladies and gentlemen, is the name of the video. Who the hell do you think you are giving me CSS find in page highlight pseudos, Google? I didn't ask for this. I don't want these foreground and background colors to add text decorations. Who do you think you are? Excuse me, you're going to respect overall overscroll behavior for keyboard scrolls without asking me first? This is the problem with these trillion-dollar companies. They think that they can just view transitions, wait until, without asking me. We now have a geolocation element in the DOM. Does that mean they're tracking my geolocation? Are they giving people the ability to track my location with a JavaScript API call without asking my consent? I think my point is made. I like this guy. I like Mudahar. I watch a lot of Mudahar's videos. This is a little weird. This is a weird take. I think we've gone a little too far down the anti-pill train here.
Onto your system, okay? We'll worry about it later. Now, depending on who you are, 4 gigs might actually be a fair bit of storage for you, and you may not want this installed because maybe you do consider that this is an unnecessary use of your resources. I've seen people talk about the environmental concerns, like the actual researcher that brought this up brought the environmental concerns, and I'm actually of two minds here. I think that when we start doing the calculations of the AI data center industry, there's another industry that we can compare to, like the agricultural industry, which consumes far more resources and is much more detrimental to the environment. So just on a quick cutoff, it's like, should we stop fucking eating meat? Should we stop consuming animals? Because that's substantially worse for the environment as opposed to things like the AI data centers, which, I've heard a lot of people say like AI data centers consume entirely.
How does that have
water
anything to
resources,
do with a local
I don't really
model
know how
getting
true
pushed
that
in a
is, because
Chrome
every single bit of
update?
research I've done is AI data centers, they tend to have closed loop systems. Water is usually trucked in, and whenever there is a loss of water, which isn't really all that substantial,
I thought we
get trucked in,
debunked
but
all
it's
the
not
water
anywhere
stuff, too.
close to the amount of water needed to raise sort of like a flock of cows, right? Or just something like that. But anyways, all of that argumentation aside, the reality here is consent, okay? The consent is not given to the user. They're basically silently installing the shit onto your system, and that's not okay. Now again, look, at the end of the day, just stop using Google, man. It's a surveillance platform, much like any of these big tech companies
I also,
using any of their products,
listen,
right? It doesn't have
I'm
to
a privacy nerd who also agrees that, like, I don't use fucking Chrome for privacy reasons. I also do not think that you should be using Chrome if you're worried about your privacy. I just think that this is a very, very strange. I saw these headlines everywhere this week, right? Silently installs a 4 gig AI under your computer. And I was just like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Google. It could be like fucking Microsoft Edge, okay? It could be any of these platforms. If you care about your privacy and you care about the respect onto your own system, like if you care about non-bloated programs, don't fucking use Google Chrome. It's
I mean, completely agree. And I think he's just going to go through and like what you should
so
use.
easy to switch off. Here, I'll walk you through it right now. You can go to Brave browser for a script, right? So you can go get like
Brave's got its own
that
issues.
is much more secure, much more private, in my experience at least. But
Sure.
going back to things like Helium, guys, it's so easy. I'll walk you through it, right? This whole thing.
And by the way, you're making trade-offs, security trade-offs versus privacy trade-offs, right? Like some of these other companies don't have, $1 trillion market caps that they can put, security muscle behind and get you, 0-day fixes as soon as possible. So you're making trade-offs. It's hard to make a secure browser. I'd argue that Chrome is the most secure browser and the least private browser, right? Like that's probably the reality. You'd agree with this, but he's using Google Chrome in his personal instance. We could argue that you downloaded Google software, maybe even created an account with them. When you're free to the product. Yeah, I mean, we can make a whole video about like getting off of
privacy
Google.
browser. And look at that, dude. It's a lot faster. It runs a lot smoother. And it also has all the ad blocker shit built right in. So you really don't even have to go out of your way to get a Chrome
agree.
to switch your browser.
But like if you're using Chrome is the most widely used browser on the planet by an order of magnitude, right? And do I think that this like local AI model being built into it is like headline travesty news? No. Roman, do it. It just takes practice, dude. No, I don't think so. I think we've taken too much of the anti pills. Like I said, I like Mudahar. I still will watch a lot of Mudahar videos. I think he's just a little overtuned on that one in terms of what we got going on. What else we got? That was like the video I had pulled up. I kind of do want to hear Theo's take on this.
On in his latest video, compute was the bottleneck. Pretty sure you called this the other day. So Theo was right. It's not pricing power yet, but capacity.
I don't think Mudahar is a click view farmer, by the way. I think Mudahar truly believes what he's talking about there. He's a privacy, he's like a privacy warrior. He makes a lot of really great videos on that content, by the way. Like, and I do not think he's a clickbaiter. I think he actually, of anyone, I just want to defend him a bit because I just kind of roasted him a bit. Like, look at his channel and you go to his videos. He's doing like nothing. Like, he's not doing like this. He's not playing the YouTube game. It's just like him. And he gets hundreds of thousands of views per video because he can just like rip a take, right? Like he just, and he can, and it's generally good. And he's just kind of like an internet commentary, right? Johnny Somali and shit. I think he was a live streamer or something. I've never watched him as a live streamer. Kind of just like a generalist, but he does definitely talk about privacy and stuff a lot. So I guess I haven't really watched a ton of his anti-AI videos. So I think he's probably gone very anti-AI, and I haven't really seen a lot of that. But I would say, generally, like, I mean, you could see, I haven't watched a video of his in a while. You could see the red bar down here. I watched his Epstein Files one. Google's Killing Android I watched. So I guess I don't watch too many of his videos these days. When I was first starting YouTube, he was very like aspirational for me because I didn't want to play the YouTube game, right? Like, and I'm like, man, look at this guy fucking killing it. And he's not playing the clickbait game that everyone else is playing. Because I took like a course on how to do YouTube, and it was like, man, it taught you how to dangle keys in front of a kitten is like what that course did. It was like, you are treating people like they have microsecond attention spans. And it's like, never leave the same thing on the screen for more than 3 seconds. You need like changes in B-roll and this and titles and thumbnails. And I was like, this is not what gets me up in the morning. I am a cybersecurity guy who's done this for 20 years. And I just want to be a cybersecurity guy that's done this for 20 years and talk about it. And I looked to Mudahar as kind of a inspiration in that way, right? I was like, hey man, look, you could be successful and not do all the YouTube gimmicky shit. And so I'm going to defend him. I still think Mudahar's got good takes. I think he's gone a little a little too far down the anti-AI train. I think there are very valid criticisms of these mega corporations, their treatment of our data, their privacy, their advertising things, all this kind of stuff. I think you can have that stance and understand that this is incredible technology that is indistinguishable from fucking magic if we looked at it 5 years ago. If you looked at what we could do now 10 years ago, like insane levels of capability, right? He's more into self-hosting. Cool. I also would, in a heartbeat, drop stupid amounts of money if I could get an Opus 4.6, 4.7 level coding capability on a local machine, even if it needed to be a beefy machine. I would drop stupid money on that if I could do it, right? It's just not capable just yet, Never seen him before. Oh, he's a great man. He's honestly great. Like I said, he was inspiration for me. All right, I'm interested. Speaking of anti-AI / pro-AI people, Theo's like a big AI guy, but he's very critical of these companies. So I want to hear his take about the recent SpaceX stuff with Claude.
Well, let's hope it lasts. At Theo, compute really was the reason for egregious pricing. It's a good day to be right. Seriously though, I just don't get how anyone didn't understand this before. It was pretty obvious Anthropic's biggest problem is that they didn't have enough compute to keep up with the demand that they were seeing. And that demand has been crazy, absolutely unprecedented. We'll talk a bit about that, but first we need to talk about today's news. The new partnership between Anthropic and SpaceX / XAI / whatever Elon calls the company now. It's kind of crazy when you know the history of these companies, but this is real. You can even see it in this, no, this is a post from January when Anthropic banned XAI from using Anthropic models. Definitely not related to today's announcement with higher usage limits for Claude and a compute deal with SpaceX. Yeah, this was not an expected thing. There has been a lot of historical beef between these two parties, and seeing them come together in this way shows just how bad the compute crisis is. Anthropic does not like SpaceX. Anthropic does not like XAI. Anthropic does need compute. Thankfully, Elon's a huge fan of Anthropic and is more than happy to do this partnership. Oh, your AI hates whites and Asians, especially Chinese heterosexuals and men.
God.
This is misanthropic and evil. Fix it. Frankly, I don't think there's anything you can do to escape the inevitable irony of Anthropic ending up being misanthropic. This is a joke he has been making a lot. Just search Twitter for Elon
You see the search bar? Elon misanthropic.
posts that say misanthropic, and there are dozens. But apparently that changed too. By way of background for those who care, I spent a lot of time last week with senior members of the Anthropic team to understand what they do to ensure Claude is good for humanity, and was impressed. Everyone I met was highly competent and cared a great deal about doing the right thing. No one set off my evil detector. So long as they engage in critical self-examination, Claude will probably be good. After that, I was okay with leasing Colossus 1 to Anthropic, as SpaceX had already moved training to Colossus 2. This one sentence has so much information in it that I am very excited to break down.
I don't know what Colossus is. I missed the boat. Do you guys know what Colossus is?
But unlike Elon and Anthropic, I don't have billions of dollars of GPUs. I only got a couple 5090s. And if I want to get any more, I'm going to have to take a quick break for today's sponsor. Stop me if you've heard this one before. You've been working on some code. Pete will push it and just it up. But the ready make.link/code is how does this affect us, specifically Claude Code users? There's a question of what's Anthropic's compute problem? Like, why is this a thing that they're willing to do? Is it really that bad that they're going to partner with a person that they hate and hates them? Like, that just seems insane, right? But most importantly, WTF is going on at XAI. I honestly think this is the most interesting part of all of this. The financials and direction of XAI is fascinating. Reminder, they just put out a really weird bid for Cursor. So I'm going to do a lot of speculation on what's going on at XAI and Elon. I have historically said that I still think XAI has a real chance of catching up and being a frontier lab, but the reason why has historically been compute. And believe me,
Yeah, I saw an interesting take, and I think I agree with it. So if you guys missed it, XAI talking about buying Cursor, but it was like an option to buy for like $60 billion at the end of the year or something like that. And so the take that I saw that I think I agree with is, because I have no inside information at all, is that they feel behind, XAI feels behind on the coding agent aspect of things, and they like don't think they can catch up, right? Claude Code and Codex are just so far ahead. So they went to Cursor, who's been solely focused on the coding aspect of things just as an IDE. And Cursor, on the opposite end of the spectrum, has been building coding agents, but could not possibly train their own model, right? They are not a frontier model shop. They're just an IDE, right? So Cursor has the coding chops, nowhere near the infrastructure needed, billions and billions of dollars of infrastructure needed to even start training a model. So neither of these parties have come out and said this, but one of the speculations that I liked was basically that's the partnership, right? XAI says, cool, help us make a coding model and we'll buy you for $60 billion. And if for whatever reason you don't, like if we don't succeed in this endeavor, we'll give you $10 billion worth of compute in our data centers. Because XAI has the data centers and infrastructure that Cursor doesn't. Cursor has the coding chops, right? So I read that and I agree.
We will be talking about that. So make sure you watch to the end on this one, because this sentence here is probably the most important piece of all of this information. Going to change the order a little bit, and we're going to start with what Anthropic's compute problem is. A lot of people seem to think the changes that Anthropic's been making recently are in order to make more money off their end users. While making money is absolutely part of their plan and what they're trying to do, it is not the reason that these changes are happening. If you saw the attempts to remove Claude Code from the Pro plan and thought, oh, they're trying to charge us more money and get a bunch of people to jump to the $100 tier, you just don't get what's going on. They don't want to sell more of any of those tiers. Their goal is explicitly to try and free up compute because they just did not buy enough GPUs. All of these announcements happened today at the Code with Claude conference that for some reason I didn't get invited to. I don't know. Invite must have been lost in the mail. As everyone knows, I'm a huge fan of Claude and Claude Code, so I'm surprised I didn't get invited. Anthropic failed to predict how much compute they were going to need this year. And that failure has made things very hard for them for serving their customers.
I also didn't get invited. I know I'm nobody, but it's a big room. I didn't hear about this until like it was happening, and I was like, "Shit! I would have definitely flown out for this Claude Dev conference or whatever."
Normally, they kind of
not salty about it or anything. I literally didn't expect it. I didn't even know about it. But once I found out, I was like, "Oh damn! What do I got to do?"
Dance around these details, but I was surprised with how candid Dario was in this conference. I wanted to just share what he had to say.
PRs inflect upwards due to the work that Claude is doing. And we've seen it externally because actually this is the first year we've grown faster than the exponential. So, we tried to plan very well for a world of 10x growth per year. In the first quarter of this year, we saw, if you were to annualize it, 80x growth per year in revenue and usage.
Also 80x more ins than necessary, but regardless, 80x growth is kind of insane.
Speech.
No one can plan for that properly. I can sympathize with them for that, but it is also worth noting OpenAI did kind of plan for this. OpenAI bought as much compute as they possibly could. Dario was admittedly quite conservative with his compute purchases and allocations. He wanted to wait and not overbuy and overcommit to buying compute and then be in a rough spot because they had more compute than they knew what to do with. It kind of seems like right now the biggest winners are the people who jumped on the realization that you need a lot of compute, so they bought as much as possible. Except for one company, because compute is only useful if there's people around to use it. And when you have 80x growth and all these enterprises who are trying to use your inference, then you need the compute. But if you don't, it matters less. In fact, it actually ends up being quite expensive. Remember that fact, because we'll be going back there in a bit. But I want to talk more about what this means for us as users first. Anthropic didn't have the compute they needed, and they also have to split their compute across multiple different providers that are all entirely different from each other. For example, they're doing 5 gigawatts of compute with Amazon, which is going to be on a Trainium, which is one architecture that notably isn't NVIDIA and isn't CUDA. They also have a deal with Google and Broadcom. This deal with Google and Broadcom is Google's TPUs, which notably also are not NVIDIA. They separately have a partnership with Microsoft and NVIDIA that includes $30 billion of Azure capacity, and they're helping invest in American AI infra with FluidStack. But these three here are three entirely different types of hardware they have to run on. They even say here that they train and run Claude on a range of AI hardware, Trainium, Google TPUs, and NVIDIA GPUs. It is my personal belief that the researchers do not want to use the first two here. Ironically enough, the training isn't happening on Trainium because the researchers all want to work in CUDA. I have yet to meet an AI researcher that doesn't prefer to just use CUDA for everything. So my hypothesis for a while has been they're trying to move as much compute as possible for inference over to Trainium and Google TPUs to free up their NVIDIA allocation so the researchers can use it. But even then, they didn't have enough, and they needed more.
I don't know enough about the differences in the hardware models. So he's saying like the researchers want to use CUDA, so they're trying to move inference over to here. I don't know. I don't know enough about why.
Do you know who does have a lot of NVIDIA compute? SpaceX. We'll go back to that soon because the cool thing for all of us is that they are increasing the usage limits now because they are finally not as compute constrained. Remember, I've been saying this many times, the way that these subscriptions work isn't that they have a thing that they're trying to sell for an amount of money and they're trying to just get you up to that tier. It's actually the opposite. They're making these subscription tiers to get people into the platform, but the cost is not so simple to measure. It's not like selling computers directly, where if you make 1,000 laptops and you sell 800 of them, you're losing money because you didn't sell those 200 laptops, but then you can just keep them around and slowly sell them until you get your profit in the end. Every minute your compute isn't running, you are losing money. So if you have thousands of servers, let's say you have 10,000 servers that can serve users, your peak hours, you're hitting those 10,000, but in your less peak hours, you're only using 6,000 of them. You have 4,000 compute units, however you want to measure it, that are just sitting there doing jack shit. That's money you're potentially losing. But if you have more requests coming in than you have the compute to serve, you're screwed. And a lot of the changes we've been experiencing as Claude Code users on those traditional subscription tiers isn't that they are out of computers to sell us, is that there is no compute available at certain times. That's why they did the thing where they had the peak hour reduction, where during work hours, we got less inference than we would on off hours. Because again, they're just trying to use the compute they have available to them. Now they have way more compute available, so the peak hour limit reduction is gone. They also doubled the Claude Code 5-hour rate limits. Sounds awesome, and in a lot of ways it is. But there is a catch. There's two types of usage when you use Claude Code and Claude subs. You have your 5-hour limit, so that's your current session. When you send a message, it starts, and then you can only do so much inference within a 5-hour window.
Too.
Separately, there's a weekly limit that resets every 7 days that is on top of your 5-hour limit. So if you were hitting the 5-hour limit a lot because you'll like code really heavily for a couple hours and then not touch Claude Code for a few days, this will help you a lot. But if you're using this multiple times a day over multiple windows every day and you were hitting the weekly limits, you're no better off than you were before.
Yeah.
And if you're using all these fancy new parallel agents and like auto review tools that they're starting to introduce that keep these things running way longer, you're not going to benefit a lot from these changes. If you're using things in bursts and you hit the 5-hour limit all the time, awesome, you're in a good spot. But the most exciting thing for me is the bump to the API rate limits. This is for the enterprise customers. We got screwed hard with this whenever a new model came out, and they would only allocate us so much tokens per minute when the new models drop. And then T3 chat would have problems because users would be trying to use Opus, and some of these limits were egregious. Like 160,000 output tokens per minute on tier 3 might sound like a lot, but I've done individual runs that can hit the millions. Obviously, those took more than a couple minutes. But if you have 3 people doing output at the same time, hitting these limits was not very hard. But they have massively increased them, especially on the input side. On tier 1, the input token per minute limit was 30,000, which was nothing. It was like you could get cut off on one request, and often were. And the 8,000 output was also just laughable. This means you could never have more than 2 requests running at once, probably not more than 1. And the input token limit you could hit as soon as you make a request. So that being bumped is huge.
If I'm working at 2 projects at once, that's it. I eat all my limit. If I'm working on 1 project, I can kind of stay within my limits for the whole week. If I do 2, I generally hit it if I got 2 things going on.
Tier 2 went from 450K into 2 mil in. Tier 3 went from 800K into 5 mil in. More than 4xing, which is crazy. And then Tier 4 went from 2 mil to 10 mil, 5xing the input tokens. Very nice for those of us who are trying to host things through Anthropic. I have a lot of fun conspiracies I could dive into about this part too. Opus models can be hosted in multiple different places. As mentioned before, they work on Trainium, they work on Google TPUs, and they also can be hosted in Azure, as well as, of course, Google and Amazon servers. So this is one of the reasons that Anthropic's done so well in enterprise. It's because Anthropic positioned themselves to be in every single cloud. So if your company is a Google Cloud company, if you guys are an Azure company, or most likely you're an AWS company, you could use cloud models within your existing setup, which was huge for them. It's a big part of why Anthropic did so well and why OpenAI was struggling, because not only was OpenAI limited to just serving on Azure and their own inference, Azure was not hosting their inference properly. After 14 months of bitching, I got them to fix it finally, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. The thing I want to showcase here that I think is really interesting is around how these different deployments are going. I spend way too much time in these charts. This is the output speed over time. This measures how fast the model runs in the different providers. And you'll notice here, Amazon is by far the fastest, regularly over 80 TPS, sometimes hitting as high as 100, when Anthropic's own official hosting is usually in the 50s. Google is a little lower, but still solid in the like 50 to 70 range.
If you look at the bottom axis, this is like a day, per line. So this is like a pretty small time window.
And meaningfully better than Anthropic and Azure. But if we turn off Amazon and Google, you might notice something here. These numbers are really close, like absurdly close. I've been hearing some conspiracies that I'm starting to believe that Azure isn't actually hosting Anthropic models right now. Rather, they are piping through requests to the official Anthropic APIs. It could be that there's just another NVIDIA cluster and that they're hosting them the same way and that the inference is roughly the same speed. But I don't necessarily believe that at this point because I've seen two companies hosting NVIDIA and not getting even close to similar performance, OpenAI. This mirroring, near exact mirroring, suggests to me that these models are being piped through Anthropic on Azure right now. I do see this potentially changing in the future, but it does seem very clearly like these are mirroring each other such that it would surprise me if they were coming from different data centers. I could be entirely wrong on this, but I wanted to bring it up because I find it really interesting, especially because both Amazon and Google have meaningfully better performance and also meaningfully better latency characteristics over time. Just thought that was an interesting thing worth calling out. I have heard others say that Amazon and Google are also piping through to Anthropic, and that is obviously wrong for a billion fucking reasons, but now you can see in this chart, yeah, obviously. So if you think that all of them are just piping through, no. If you think Azure might be piping through, potentially. So we've covered the compute problem. We've covered how this affects us. Time to talk about the exciting part here. What the fuck's going on at XAI? Just a few weeks ago, this post kind of rocked my world as an early investor in Cursor, so again, account for bias here. SpaceXAI and Cursor AI are now working closely together to create the world's best coding and knowledge work AI. The combination of Cursor's leading product and distribution to expert software engineers with SpaceX's million H100 equivalent Colossus training supercomputers will allow us to build the world's most useful models. Cursor's also given SpaceX the right to acquire Cursor later this year for $60 billion or pay $10 billion for our work together. There are 3 things you need to be successful in the AI space. You need research.
Did you say he's an early investor in Cursor? What the fuck? I'm doing YouTube wrong.
Specifically researchers, the scientists that are capable of making all of these cool things happen. You need data, both data you collect from the rest of the world, as well as data that you can manufacture and processes to create that data in order to train the models with good data. And of course, to do all of this, you need compute. Getting all of these things is difficult.
We're a little
and the reason OpenAI was so successful early
video.
on is they found novel solutions on the research side. They scraped and found a ton of good data. And the compute in particular was a weak point initially because they didn't have the money. That's part of why there's all of the beef going on right now. I think he's just going to
cover
OpenAI
the
and Elon.
theory that
the reason
I
that they had to go
saw,
for profit
right?
is they had no other way to acquire the compute they needed when they started believing scaling laws. So we know
We're gonna jump
but
forward.
the thing Anthropic's lacking is the third one, compute. XAI didn't have research or data, but they did have compute.
I think
Anthropic
this
has
is
research
probably
and data, no
sums
compute.
up what he
Cursor
just talked
kinda
about
has
for the
research,
10
not the
minutes I
same level,
just
so give them an
skipped.
X. They absolutely have the data. They do not have the compute. OpenAI is the only company with all 3. Does everything suddenly make sense? XAI had holes to fill. They needed to patch their research hole and their data hole. Anthropic had holes to patch too. They need to patch their compute hole. Cursor needs to figure out how they survive this next generation. OpenAI is what they're all fearing. And the fact that Anthropic is willing to link up with one of their old enemies, XAI, shows just how desperate they are to prevent OpenAI from coming in and slaughtering. There are 2 things that are making OpenAI much scarier to Anthropic right now. The first is that Codex is exploding. It's getting significantly better to use OpenAI models for code tasks, which Anthropic has historically dominated. But the other big thing is that OpenAI now runs on AWS. Not just yet, but very soon OpenAI will have AWS support. They didn't before. Anthropic had a huge lead because if you were on AWS and everyone's on AWS, you could use Anthropic models in Bedrock and you couldn't use OpenAI ones. Now that has changed.
This is the take right here. Right? This is kind of the important takeaway from all this.
Anthropic's biggest wedge is dead, and the code capabilities wedge is getting closed fast. So Anthropic's making a pretty crazy bet here that their current desperation from compute being temporarily resolved by XAI is worth the risk in the optics of this partnership. But I still haven't talked about that last sentence. This is again from Elon. I was okay leasing Colossus 1 to Anthropic, as SpaceXAI has already moved training to Colossus 2. You need compute for 2 things. You need compute for training, but you also need compute for serving requests from users. When users are using the models from your company, you need GPUs or TPUs or something to serve those requests. Colossus 1 is a pretty sizable deployment. According to Epoch, Colossus 1 was around 442 megawatts of power, around 280,000 H100s. Truly insane amount of GPUs. Colossus 2 is still being produced. It's not ready yet. It has 1.5 gigawatts, so 1,500 megawatts of power, and 1.4 million H100 equivalents. That is a 3x in power from 425 megawatts to 1,500 megawatts. And it's also a massive increase in the number of GPUs. It is a 5x to 1.5 mil of them roughly. But there's a very specific phrasing in here that I think is worth noting. SpaceX has already moved training to Colossus 2. Not inference, training. What that implies, if you were to drop the Anthropic part and just focus on SpaceX moving training to Colossus 2, what that would imply is that they're running their inference for Grok on Colossus 1. So that's 442 megawatts allocated for Grok. I don't think Grok needs that much inference because I don't know a lot of people using Grok outside of adding it on Twitter. It's just not a good option right now. They very briefly had a benchmark lead when Grok 4 came out, but they lost it fast and have never been usable enough to be the default for anybody. So they have 442 megawatts of compute. They're obviously giving some of that over to Cursor. I'm assuming more of that's going to be Colossus 2 for training. So of the 442 megawatts on Colossus 1, how much do you think they gave to Anthropic? Because remember, they have to keep some around for their own inference. Let's hear some guesses, chat. What percentage or what number? You're thinking they gave away 20%, maybe 40%? Reasonable guesses. 250 megawatts, 60%, 70%. Let's look at the official number because they were actually, for some reason, kind enough to share this. This gives us access to more than 300 megawatts of new capacity, over 220,000 NVIDIA GPUs within the month. That is pretty much all of Colossus 1. That's 300 out of the 425 megawatts and 220 out of the 280 GPUs. That means that XAI only needs about 100 megawatts or so for Grok inference right now, which is very amusing. They effectively had this giant data center with a bunch of H100s that was meant to serve Grok.
This is great data and analysis. This is fantastic. Right? Because they didn't say all that in any of the public stuff. Like he had to go figure this out based on the capacity of these data centers.
Not getting used because nobody needs Grok, and Elon had already invested so heavily in the next generation data center, Colossus 2, which cost $44 billion to build, by the way. I just thought it was amusing that this data center is effectively unused, not because they have Colossus 2, simply because they don't do any inference because nobody's using Grok. They did specify the agreement means they will be able to use all of the compute capacity at Colossus 1, but they said in the article that it was all of the compute within the month, which specifically means that they're going to move whatever little inference they're still doing for Grok off into Colossus 2, which allegedly will be fully online by May 13th. Hard to know for sure. These deadlines always get shifted around. I just found it amusing that they're doing so little inference that this barely matters to them. If you take anything from this video, it should probably be this chart. This lays out why these things are happening. The reason XAI wants to buy Cursor is to plug a data gap. The reason Anthropic wants to work with XAI is to plug a compute gap. The reason OpenAI is ignoring all of this is because they planned ahead slightly better. And the reason Google is not in this chart is because despite having all of these things they can't stop shitting themselves long enough to make something useful. And in a future where Anthropic spins up way more compute over the next few years here, apparently a gigawatt of Trainium on Amazon by the end of this year and up to 5 overall over time, a similar agreement with Google and Broadcom for Bedrock, $30 billion on Azure, and way more investment in American AI infra. All of this suggests that they are going to finally get ahead on compute. But as we've established many times now, compute is a thing that takes a long lead to do. You can't just say, I want this compute now and get it. You can only get it from people who bought it 2 years ago. Or you can make a buy order for compute 2+ years from now. So Elon buying early and having no users to serve means he has extra compute to sell. Anthropic buying too little and having 80x the users they expected means they have no compute available. Match made in heaven. As long as you ignore Elon's genuine hatred for Anthropic that he is willing to ignore almost entirely for enough billions of dollars. I think this is all absurd. The willingness of all of these people to set aside their morals to get compute shows just how desperate they all are to make their investments worthwhile. And let's be real, a significant portion of this is influenced by the fact that Elon hates OpenAI so deeply that he's willing to work with Anthropic just to try and plug these gaps to make anybody as successful as OpenAI is. Anyone?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good vid. Good vid. That shows you where a lot of this is going, right? That's pretty crazy. All right. Well, we went deep down the rabbit hole today. About half of you left while we were doing our React stream. Just goes to show you what you guys are sticking around for is generally me yapping. All right, cool. Well, I think that's it. I'm going to go write the newsletter off camera today. Don't feel like boring you all any further. Thanks for hanging out. I will be live again next week. I got a really, really good YouTube video coming out hopefully today. All right. So if you're not subscribed, hit the bell and all that. We've been working really hard on this one with the team over at iVerify who found the iOS exploits out in the wild. I interviewed them. We put together a pretty good video with their interviews and stuff like this. It's probably the most post-production time we've put into a video. So it's not just me yapping in this room like it usually is. And so, yeah, it should be going out later today. So check that out. if you're into iOS security, even if you're not. It's just I'm giving a keynote this summer at a conference, and I think that this is going to be a major part of it. Is just kind of the commoditization of nation state attack capabilities that we're seeing. There's like a shift in like attacks that used to only happen in nation states are now happening by lower skilled and tiered threat actors. And these couple iOS exploits, Karuna and Darksword, were big parts of that. And so, yeah, we go through Karuna and Darksword in pretty good detail. So check it out. What up, Colin? What up, Guitar? The real ones are still here. No, for sure. You guys rock. That Theo video was good. That was a really good Theo video. He's just kind of a bully sometimes, but that was a really good data analysis to figure out what was going on. All right. I'm going to go write the newsletter, vulnu.com. If you're not subscribed, everyone here probably is, but that newsletter will go out in the 7 a.m. hour central tomorrow morning. Thank you all, and I will see you on stream.